welcome back.
Thank you.
To Tulsa.
Yeah.
Or should I say welcome home? It's not your home, but...
You know, it's the only place that I can think of that I go to where the ratio of hugs and handshakes that I give are about 50-50. Oh. You know, mostly it's, you know, handshakes and whatnot, but it's gotten to the point where, lots of hugs, and it's familiar at this point, right? I don't need Google Maps anymore to get around the city.
That's big.
I just, you know, I know how to get to Whole Foods from the airport, and I know how to get to my hotel.
Yes.
And I know how to get to Gradient.
Okay, so that is my next question for you. When you are touching down in Tulsa, your tummy's rumbling, where are you going for your first meal?
First meal.
Or what meal are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I touch down, and this has been, you know, the almost dozen or times or so that I've been here, nearly every time I go straight to Whole Foods.
Okay, what are you picking up there?
Yeah, I'm picking up, all the essentials: bananas, water, granola bars.
Would hate to get a leg cramp while you're here.
Exactly. So everything that the hotel room would not have.
Okay.
To kind of supplement what I'm trying to do. But then, you know, there's great spots around here to eat, right? Like, so, the first place I was taken to eat when I came to Tulsa the first time was Fixin's, just down the road. So big bowl of gumbo. Yep. Right. And I made the mistake of ordering cornbread on the side. There was a giant piece of cornbread already in the middle. I didn't say that on the menu, but
you gotta freeze dry that and keep it.
I think about Fixin's, but just overall good food. We had a good barbecue joint just around the corner. That's not specific because I know there's a lot of them.
Generic enough.
But yeah, I've had some really good food.
Yeah, if you can find Michael's mystery barbecue joint, then
sorry,
you get
I
a
can't
prize.
remember the name of it. I'll try to drive around and figure it out.
Yeah, please report back. I love that. Okay, so we lovingly call you Microsoft Michael around here, but you, of course, have an amazing life outside of your 9-to-5. So allow me to introduce you without talking about work, and then we will get into work. Now, I did all this research on the internet. You are good at your job, cybersecurity, because it's like nearly impossible to find anything out about you personally. So I'm going to give it a whirl, and you can fill in the blanks. Michael is a husband, a father, and an avid basketball player and fan. And outside of his 9-to-5, he's also an expert contributor to the Global Internet Forum of Counterterrorism and an Aspen Strategy Group fellow. Yeah. Now, that is not a lot of personal information, but are there any blanks that you would like to fill in that we need to know about you?
No, I mean, you highlighted the most important one, in all seriousness, that I love my family. Everybody who spends time with me in person, because you're right, I don't have much of an online presence, and that creates a bit of the mystery, which may or may not be intentional.
Right.
But you start to quickly find out that, like, I have a beautiful wife who I met in 8th grade.
No.
By the way, there's a story
Middle school
there.
sweethearts.
Middle school sweethearts.
Should we just throw everything out and talk about that the rest of the time?
We could if you wanted to. There's definitely a story there. And then I have 3 beautiful kids.
Yes.
So, they are just, they're the motivation for everything. They're very accommodating because you quaintly said that my job's 9-to-5, which it's not.
Of course. Never is.
Nor is it Monday through Friday, but it's great. And so that's the personal aspect of it. I did play basketball. Yeah. And I thought I was always going to play basketball. Okay. I know I'm in Thunder country here. Right. But which is great. And so maybe another reason why I like coming here. Yeah. But physical, ailments and surgeries and things like that, some personal decisions, I walked away from that, and that was kind of shocking to my system. Yeah. Because it's what I had always done. It's what I thought I was going to play until I couldn't walk anymore, which I actually ended up doing. But it was a lot sooner than I thought I was going to, and then I was going to coach or go to the business of it, and life just has those kind of twists and turns that you end up doing something else and you have to adjust. And it's a long and winding road to how I got to where I'm at now. But I think the rest of the details that you shared, I do a lot of kind of supplemental things professionally, a lot of organizations, a lot of think tank stuff that I'm interested in, that I try to participate in, which feeds my work, but also helps me kind of expand into other areas as well.
Completely. Yeah. I love that. So I'll introduce you professionally now. Okay. Michael is a senior manager in Microsoft's security business development team, where he leads initiatives in cybersecurity strategy, partnerships, and AI-driven security solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Salazar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about your role at Microsoft. What is it that you're doing every day? Hard to put into words.
It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
What we do, I work a lot in partnerships increasingly. There's a process that we go through when we're developing strategy at Microsoft, and I think any large organization, is do we build it, right, from a product perspective? Do we go ahead and buy it, right? Is there like a company out there that does what we're looking for and maybe can help us get to market faster than building it ourselves? Or do we partner? And increasingly, we live in a world where we are prioritizing partnerships. And so what I do and what my very small team does, because we're a team of about 20 people to cover the entirety of Microsoft's security business, which is
you would think it would need to be thousands.
It's a multi-billion dollar business. If you were to take it and remove it from inside the Microsoft ecosystem, it'd be the largest security company in the world.
No kidding.
By far.
Wow.
But it's its entity of its own inside Microsoft. And so where we focus, because of we're not overly resourced from a personnel standpoint, is our most strategic opportunities. And so it's working with our leaders and our counterparts inside Microsoft to identify our gaps and develop a roadmap of what do we want to be in a year, what do we want to be in 3 years, what do we want to be in 5, 10 years, and what are the then partnerships increasingly that we want to strike to help us accelerate towards those goals. And it's not just revenue driven, right? There's strategic positioning within market. There's certainly products that we're rolling out, but it's all about what is the customer telling us that they need? Where is the industry going? And then how do we anticipate that and then use partnerships to kind of meet that objective?
Close the gap.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
that would be summing up what we do.
Yes, very eloquently put.
A lot of negotiating, a lot of agreements. My toughest negotiations, by the way, are with people inside my own company rather than the actual partner. But that's just
they keep your muscles strong.
Yeah,
completely. Yeah. That is very cool. And you mentioned you've been here to Tulsa now almost a dozen times.
Yeah.
What makes Microsoft interested in a place like Tulsa that might not be the usual suspect for this kind of partnership?
Yeah, you think about it within the context of the lab that we're building here, and the other places that we have built quote unquote labs, and they're more of the usual suspects, right? The Seattle, San Francisco, Japan. There's kind of these places that are more traditional hubs that people would think about. And so when I started coming to Tulsa, as I mentioned, it was a bit more of an adjacent opportunity at Microsoft, right? I wouldn't say all the way a side project, but something that I carved out time in my schedule to support a little bit outside of my day job. But as time went on, and it didn't take very long, thinking about how can we do more here? Because I saw the community, I saw the momentum, I saw the partnership opportunities. And it's like, we should bring this a little bit more into the Microsoft mainstream and actually build a strategy around it. So I think the momentum that I personally witnessed made it very easy for me to craft a strategy that I could then go back to Microsoft saying, we're doing these cute little things here, right? We're, and they were impactful, right? Cyber skilling and others, but let's make this an actual part of our business.
Yeah.
From a cyber and AI perspective. And that's how we then created all these opportunities to bolt ourselves onto the Tech Hubs initiative, and we've seen what it's grown to from here.
Well, you must be a very persuasive person to go back to Microsoft and say, "Hey, I got an idea."
Well, I'm persistent.
Persistent.
I don't know how persuasive, but professional nag when I need to be.
Right. Love it. That is respectable. So you, of course, work for one of the largest companies in the world. Right. What lessons do you think startups could pull from how Microsoft operates?
Microsoft is made up of it's one entity, and I think often we think about it as one large behemoth. But I think it's useful to look at organizations at times as individual units that are moving in the same direction, right? So I consider, I mentioned, I'm a part of a unit inside Microsoft that's 20, 25 people. So we are kind of like a startup.
Like a startup yourself.
Right. And it's why it's hard to say what I do day to day, because as in a startup, you kind of wear a lot of different hats. And you have to one day work with marketing, the next day work with finance, the next day you're working with, partners and agreements. And so I think that what startups I would actually maybe flip that a little bit. There's certainly things that startups can learn from a large organization, right? Establishing a culture, right? Having strong leadership, delegating decisions as much as you can. But on the reverse, inside Microsoft, with the emerging trends that we're seeing from technology, a lot of which we're contributing to and driving in some cases, we are being encouraged to go back to founder mode.
Really?
Right? So think about what we get closer to the ground, right? Think about innovation in our different areas of influence within the company, right? So for example, at the top level of our company, our CEO, Satya, he is going more into founder mode. And we've seen that through some of the organizational and leadership decisions that have been made, elevating certain people, even giving them titles of CEO within their own sphere of influence, so that our leaders and each of us, by design, can think about how can we be more in founder mode? Because, the days of change being, maybe every 2 years are totally gone. Yeah. Right? We're seeing innovation that's happening in 3 months that wasn't taking place within the 10, 12, 13 years before it. So it's, I think that learning goes both ways, that we're trying to learn a lot more from startups inside large organizations.
Absolutely. I think as what people would recognize as one of the most innovative companies in the world, it's good to hear that you're not just projecting that message, but you're living it from the inside, and you have to get scrappy and you have to think fast and be nimble like a startup would be. So it's interesting to hear about kind of the different team structure that allows you to do that.
Yeah, Microsoft is cool again. Right? There was a period of time where it's like, you had the Apples of the world coming up. You had these other companies which are large now, which were seen as more cutting edge. Microsoft was kind of your grandfather's company, right? Sure. Like, I'll use Windows and Excel. But it's been the idea of leadership, of this learn it all rather than know it all mentality, which I think dooms a lot of organizations, including startups. Right? You have to have a certain level of arrogance to say, like, I'm going to start a company. And it maybe that's a little bit more of just like craziness. And I think it's a healthy dose of craziness. But there was a period of time where Microsoft was just it was one of the first large successful companies. Yeah. And that we just we're very conservative for a while. But I think in the last decade or so, and this is a testament to the leadership, it's recognized as innovative. It's recognized as bleeding edge. And I think that's, again, a testament to leadership, and something that, going back to that founder mode, like how do you get back to thinking in that way? And even in a large organization with hundreds of thousands of people, if each individual is thinking in that founder mode, that's where you kind of make Microsoft cool again. Make Microsoft cool again.
That is beautiful, Michael. And don't you forget, the PCs or the first computers that you guys had at home, most likely Microsoft.
Yep. And interesting fact, when I was in elementary school, I did a report on Bill Gates. Wow, man, and I think the reason I did it, in part, was because of the first kind of PCs that we had in our home, right? Like, and the whole Windows 95 experience.
Oh yeah.
But I really think we had gotten a color printer. And I just wanted to like print stuff, right? And have it be all techie. And so I decided to do a report on Bill Gates, and
your fate was sealed.
25 years later, here I am.
You are. Yeah. Many steps closer to Bill Gates.
Not as far removed as I was as a fourth grader.
Michael, be honest, have you met Bill?
I have not met Bill.
You will.
I have not met Bill.
You will.
So we'll see.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about this philosophy that Microsoft has. If they need a problem fixed, you typically either try to solve it, buy it, or partner with someone to close the gap. If a startup wants to collaborate with a giant like Microsoft, what do you think actually moves the needle? Or is there a problem that you've already got and that's front of mind that you wish a startup would solve?
So I'll take that in two parts.
Okay.
Number one, we are increasingly investing in resources for what I'd call downstream in terms of small and medium-sized businesses. Okay. We're trying to create more material, more entry points for founders. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one is there are, from a scaling perspective, there are way more startups and small and medium-sized businesses than there are large enterprises, which Microsoft has traditionally dominated in and spent most of our time in. And so we've had kind of we're still in that change management a little bit of thinking about how do we serve closer to a starting point. The other reason is we want people to build on Azure. We want people to build on Microsoft tooling, because if they build on a competitor's tooling, which I'm not going to bash anybody's tooling. They're all strengths and weaknesses a little bit, and then we meet them a little bit further into their journey, trying to figure out how they can do more with Microsoft.
Yeah. It
is hard to re-platform somebody
completely
from a competitor to Microsoft.
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of that, hey, it would be great if we marry up things that we want to do with getting them to build on Microsoft from the beginning.
Yes.
So there's that aspect of it. In terms of some of the things that I would love to see founders and startups tackle are the things that we're seeing on the societal level. So again, because Microsoft serves largely the enterprise customers, they're enterprise level problems, right? And there are pockets within Microsoft that are doing these things. Microsoft, I think, is tremendous at being a global operator and thinking about challenges that are happening globally. But at the end of the day, a business is a business. Working with founders, and I had this conversation just actually a few minutes ago before we started recording, folks that are seeing real societal problems when it comes to health challenges or poverty and homelessness, and how can we use, even if they don't think of themselves as technologists, how can we make the technology, AI and otherwise, work for us to identify and solve these problems? We're seeing a lot of great advances in healthcare. I think is one of the most powerful use cases for AI. But, it's difficult for a large organization to spend a significant amount of time with the stuff really that like day to day impacts us, right? Food prices, right? And the associated farming that goes with that, and how can AI help there? And again, I mentioned homelessness. So I would love to see purpose-driven, mission-driven startups that are utilizing technology and building legitimate businesses, right? They're not necessarily even in the nonprofit space, even though nonprofits, I think, should use the technology. You can build legitimate businesses solving real societal problems. And I think I'd love to see that paired together a little bit more.
Yes. No, that is really great to know. And you mentioned building, is it in or on Azure? Building in Azure?
Well, hey, building on Azure.
Clearly, I've never built anything.
Within the environment.
Building on Azure. Okay.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that we have the Microsoft Startup Founders Hub here,
yes,
which is a huge perk for our founders. Like you're saying, to build in that system gets you at least one step closer for Microsoft to maybe look at you and think, hey, this is a solution we might consider implementing. And Gradient members get a significant amount of Azure credits just for building here that they can utilize to help kind of start moving in that direction.
And we're still figuring out how to really land that program because, again, I think Gradient, being one of the largest innovation hubs in the country, helps us figure out, it's kind of a good test bed to figure out what is going to be impactful from delivering a program like that. And so I think that as we round into 2026, you're going to see that become even sharper here within Gradient for the founders here from a programming perspective. But I think it's not just Microsoft identifying solutions that we might potentially want to invest in. So from a business development standpoint, or incorporate into the Microsoft ecosystem, but really it's how do we enable you to scale?
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't need to quote unquote come into the Microsoft ecosystem or be acquired or have a product adopted for Microsoft to benefit from a startup doing really well, right? You start at a certain scale. If you scale, you're going to need more Azure. You're going to need more Microsoft tooling. And that just that just kind of turns the needle for Microsoft as well from the meter perspective. And so
yeah,
it's good business either way for us to ensure that founders have what they need.
Yeah, completely. Okay, so outside of making my bank password the same password as my Facebook password, what is the most... That's not true. It's just, it's an example. What's the most common security mistake that you just see us lay people out here making every day?
Yeah. So humans continue to be the weak point in security.
That's good to hear.
No, and it always will be that way. I think you can read the news, and there's a lot of things that are happening from a cybersecurity perspective that are terrifying and challenging.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what we do as humans, just by taking a few different precautions, solve most of the problems. So, for example, not having the same password. Yep. I mean, it'd be great if we moved beyond passwords, which we're big champions of, right? So there's biometrics, right? You open up your laptop, for example, and it reads your eyes and you're in, right? Or other forms of biometrics. Two-factor authentication. So you try to log in and then it sends you a text to your phone or to your email for an additional layer of security. Setting that up across all of your environments and devices is relatively simple and will significantly reduce the chances of something happening. I mean, those couple of things alone solve a significant amount of the problems, right? Like 90% of our problems can be solved by, as humans, just expanding our willingness to be a little bit more secure.
Yes.
Right. And so, and they're not big things, right? There's obviously advanced stuff that we do, again, mostly in the enterprise space where you have really sensitive IP or other things that you're trying to protect. And Microsoft does a great deal of protection ourselves. We are constantly attacked by hackers and things like that, right? Just because of the IP that we have, also because of our customer base. So we do a lot. But on an individual level, set up biometrics if you can. Don't have the same. If you're going to use passwords, don't reuse the same passwords. Maybe every once in a while, update them.
Yep.
And then set up two-factor authentication, which most services that we use online now will enable you to do.
I love it. It seems doable, but it's just really hard to lock in on those passwords. But that is super helpful. Thank you. My last question that I'm going to ask you, it's a real hard hitter. I wouldn't be doing my investigative journalism job if I didn't ask you, Michael, what happened to Clippy, the Microsoft Word assistant? Did he become sentient? Like, did he had to go? What happened to him?
There's a lot of discussion about Clippy.
Is there? I think about him daily.
I don't know if it's the I'm not so far removed from my childhood in the 90s, but I'm increasingly feeling like I am
Isn't it humbling?
Yeah, it is. With the way kids are talking and dressing, it seems like everyone's nostalgic for the 90s.
Yeah.
And Clippy is a part of that.
Completely.
So there's, listen, there's been some discussion, I don't know how serious it is, about making sure that Clippy's our AI assistant that you see as others are doing. I think Clippy for now will remain kind of a sentimental figure that you can go on the Microsoft store and purchase some merchandise with Clippy on it.
No kidding.
And I think for now he remains a sentimental figure.
Okay.
But we'll see. Maybe he'll become sentient and come back.
Okay. Well, if there is a Clippy renaissance, I'm leading the charge. I loved that guy.
Yep.
Okay. To close this out, I invented a game.
Okay.
And you should be scared.
The
game is called Bing Bong. It's like ping pong, but it's about Bing.
Oh.
So many of you probably know Bing is Microsoft's beloved search engine. Beloved.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you two ping pong paddles. One has a 1 on it, one has a 2 on it. And I'm going to read you real questions that people type into Bing. And you have to guess which one has the highest search volume.
Oh, okay.
Hold up 1 or 2 to see which one is the most binged question. Okay.
Are we in the spirit of the rising generation, should we do 6, 7?
So, I don't even know. Like, I'm scared to ask the internet what that means.
I don't know.
It keeps coming up.
We'll stick with 1, 2.
1 and 2.
So okay. I'm ready.
And I'll tell you which one is which. Okay, your first question. Which one is the most searched? Number 1, how to reset my Microsoft password. Or 2, how to microwave a baked potato.
Oh, people passwords.
Number 1, you got that right. You got that right.
I've never, being an insider, the process is a little bit different, I expect, but I have heard that a fair number of frustrations about actually, I don't know if we have time for this, but I have a neighbor a street over from me. I think he's in his 70s.
Okay.
He came to me the other day with just a level of exasperation. He's like, what is this deal with resetting my Microsoft password? I had to talk to I was like, I don't know how to give that feedback within my own company, but so I had him in mind when I answered that question. I think that's probably an issue.
Yes, people are constantly getting locked out, but hey, it just means that at least their password is so secure, they don't even know it.
That's true. That's true. I mean, they're not getting in. No one is.
Exactly. Okay, question number 2. Number 1, NBA scores today. Or 2, how to stop my phone from listening to me. Which one is the most binged? NBA scores.
NBA scores today.
And how to stop my phone from listening to me.
I'm going to go 2.
Okay.
How to stop my phone from listening to me.
Unfortunately, wrong.
Oh, well, this makes me actually feel better.
By a landslide, it is sports scores. And it turns out people just accept that their phone is listening to them and they don't care to stop it.
I went too much into my cybersecurity brain on that question.
It should be number 2.
I don't know. It gives me more hope for society that people are more worried about NBA scores.
Blissful ignorance. It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah. And it's more. Yeah. That was such a pessimistic response. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Hey, you're in the thick of it. Okay, the next one.
Yep.
Number 1, what does 404 error mean? 2, do I need to wash mushrooms?
404 error or wash mushrooms? Man, I'll go with 404 error in the spirit of the reason I answered the first one about Microsoft reset password. Mm-hmm. Is that right? The 404 error? Oh, okay.
You are correct. Many people are confused by the 404 error.
I'm glad you didn't ask me what the 404 error means. I just get to respond to that.
Should I?
No.
Okay,
no,
I won't.
I don't. Maybe I'll go Bing that. What's the 404?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they'll let you know. Okay, next one.
Okay.
1, how to delete my Facebook account. Or 2, funny cat compilation.
Funny cat compilation. That feels early internet. Funny cat compilation. Are we still on the amusing pets videos?
Big time. It's kind of a pillar of society.
Yeah. Well, are you trying to sway my answer? Because
no, I haven't even read the answer yet.
Okay. I'm going to go funny cat compilation.
You are correct.
Yes. Okay. I went more playful than I did on the previous ones.
I love it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Last one. Number 1, new iPhone release date. Or 2, how to screenshot on Windows.
Microsoft used to be in the cell phone business. That worked out for about 12 seconds. So.
Did you have a Microsoft phone?
No, I didn't.
This was before your employment.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Those were dark days. We're not in the mobile phone
What was
business
the name
anymore.
of the Microsoft phone? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, maybe just let it lie.
So I think so. So, and we sidetracked, but iPhone release date, and what was the second one?
How to screenshot on Windows.
How to screenshot on Windows. iPhone release date.
Wrong.
Oh, no. Microsoft is not coming out good on these Bing searches. So
no, I think people are just more interested than ever.
Password
because
reset.
I use Apple and I still have to search how to get the screenshot. They're always changing it between Command-Shift-4 and Command-Shift-5 depending on what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I don't think it's a Microsoft thing. I think it's just people cannot remember these shortcuts.
I guess I'll just look at the positive that people are using
100%. People are using Bing and they want to know how to use their devices.
Okay, very good.
Michael, that is all that I'm going to put you through today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. It was great.
It has been really sweet to talk to you and just learn a little bit more about what's going on with Microsoft and what we can expect in the future. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing here. So good to be here.
Thank you.
Yep.